Sensational win for Manchester United. 3 goals at Old Trafford. A brace from Marcus Rashford. Jadon Sancho with an inspired second half performance. Bruno Fernandes at his creative best out on that right-hand side today. And Man United put themselves in a position to enter this title race. Many think it's on. We're going to delve into that in more detail on the show today. But Rashford on fire. Man United closed the gap on Man City after they dropped points. They keep a little bit of pressure on Arsenal as well. And listen, it was a game of two halves. It was a game of two halves, and Leicester was sensational in the first half. You had the midfield of Sabitzer and Fred, and even to a degree, Weghorst pushing too close to their man-to-man marking in the middle. Big spaces in behind. This was leading to the likes of Lisandro Martinez stepping out from the back. The ball was then getting played over the top, and there was huge space in the wide areas, especially for Tete on that right-hand side. And Leicester were all over Man United. That cannot be denied. That cannot be debated. That cannot be debunked in any way, shape, or any form. They were all over Man United, and David De Gea deserves a huge amount of credit today. I would actually give him the man of the match over Rashford, over Sancho, over Bruno, over Sebi, because of those saves that kept Man United in this game. They were imperative. But then one mistake at the back. Faze steps out. Rashford beats the offside trap. A wonderful outside of the ball ball pass by Bruno Fernandes. One of the best passes you'll see this season. And Rashford, true to his form, buries it and gives United an undeserved lead in the first half. But as we say in the second half of the season, performances are important, but winning is what matters, especially when you're fighting on 1, 2, 3, 4 fronts as Man United are. The second half began, and what was really, really important about the second half was the changes that Erik ten Hag made. Do not get twisted about these changes. The first one was putting Sancho in the number 10 role. Myself, I've been begging to see Sancho in the number 10 position for about 12 months now. It's an absolute necessity, to see that at Manchester United. He was brilliant. This allowed Rashford to dominate that right-hand side. Bruno was already doing a good job on the right. Rashford, on the left-hand side, was able to come alive. But what he then spoke to his midfielder about, he said, Fred, Sabitzer, stop pushing so close man-to-man. Let them have a bit more of the ball in their own half. Drop a bit deeper. Close the space for Maddison and watch them make mistakes. And from the beginning of the second half, they were losing the ball. They were losing the ball through unforced errors because, oh, hang on a minute, there's not the space to pass into. And Man United capitalized. Those changes from Erik ten Hag were absolutely immense. They were absolutely brilliant. And it was the foundation for Man United to grow from. Now, the second goal, there's controversy around it. Was it on or was it off? Well, the lines were drawn, and as you can see there, marginal, but it was onside. And this is why VAR was brought in. I've been hugely critical of VAR in recent weeks, not drawing lines, not showing us lines, making incorrect decisions. We saw 2 last week, Arsenal versus Brentford and Brighton versus Crystal Palace, that resulted in referees losing their jobs. But this is what it was brought in for, to get the decisions as close to 100% accurate as possible. Marcus Rashford, onside, second goal of the game for him, putting United not quite out of sight at this point, but into a very, very, very commanding position indeed. And from then, Leicester capitulated. There was no fight from Leicester after that point, really. United had the best of them, and then Sancho was balling out. Bruno was balling out. And the third goal, to quote the greatest boxing trainer of all time, Mickey from Rocky, that was a rare thing of beauty. And it was a rare thing of beauty. The one-touch football, the slide passing, beautiful. And for Sancho to finish it off, his second goal since returning, for him to ball out in that 10 role, I think is a sign of things to come in the future. I want to see more of Sancho in that middle area. And listen, a lot of people say Bruno isn't at his best on the right-hand side, and I don't think that he is. But I believe if you have a Sancho in that number 10 position and a really marauding, quick fullback like the low over the top, Bruno can come alive out there. He drifts to the right-hand side typically in games anyway. You've just got to utilize who runs into what positions. And it's horses for courses, because I still think Weghorst will play a role at 10 until Eriksen returns. I do think he'll play a role there. But I think Sancho today, maybe we've seen the beginning of his best position at Manchester United. And then when it was 3-0, it should have been 4. Like Weghorst, I don't know what this guy's got to do to score a goal. But I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not going to get angry about it. We won the game today. It's an area for us to improve on. But I think what really stood out to me today, and I'm about to tweet this. I'm going to put this out live while you guys are on the air. And this is I'm going to read out exactly what I'm tweeting. Manchester United, I should write the word had now because I wrote this during the game. Manchester United had Casemiro, Eriksen, Anthony, Martial, and Varane missing from the starting 11 today. And a lot of people will laugh at Anthony maybe being included or Martial, but if they were all fully fit, they start in this system. And our most dominant games are when those individuals are all playing. 5 players missing from our standard starting 11, but there was no moaning. There's no crying. There's no boo-hooing. Just winning. I love this positive attitude from the club, manager, players, and fans. Some clubs out there have one player injured and they want to cry. They want to moan. They want to write off their games. They want to write off their seasons. We saw a few years ago, the best team in the country, Man City, have one centre-back out injured and go, no, that's it, not winning the league now. That victim mentality never yields results. Never yield results. You persevere. And that's what Man United are doing. You've got young Garnacho had a bad game today. But he'll be great in the next one. You've got young Manu coming off the bench. That's who we're relying on now. We've got kids coming into games. This is what I've said all week about Arsenal. Their fans, some of their fans, a small percentage, I'm glad for them, the positive ones, that this didn't get into the Arsenal dressing room of, that's okay, few injuries, let's throw the season. Nonsense. United have got through 3 games in the Prem without Casemiro and walked away with 7 points. Should have really got all 9, if we're being absolutely honest. And we have put ourselves now into the edges of a title race. Some of you may think Man United are in a title race. I've got a poll running right now live on the air where 52% of you say yes, United are in the title race. 21% say no, and 26% have said it's just changed from 20. It's 26%, sorry, are saying maybe let's wait a few games. I spelled games wrong, by the way, but I always spell a mistake. I'm dyslexic. And I think for me, I'm in that mindset of it's almost on this title race. Talk to me after the Liverpool game. That for me is key. Speak to me after the Liverpool game. And the reason that I say that is because Liverpool are finding a little bit of form. It's a very tough place for Man United to go. And there's favourable fixtures for City and Arsenal up until that point as well. But if we look at the Premier League, we literally play Liverpool next. If we beat Liverpool, followed up by Southampton at home, those 2 games, if we win them both, and there's a drop point or 2 above us, United are in this title race. We're right upon the edge of it. We are right upon the edge of being in it, in my opinion. The fact we've got through the last 2 games, where in the first halves we were outplaying, overrunning that midfield. The fact that we've got through those games with 4, 5, 6 first-team players missing should fill United fans with an air of confidence. The only challenge is going to be we've got the Carabao Cup final. I feel quite confident we'll beat Barcelona midweek. And then you're still in 3 competitions. Arsenal, they've got no FA Cup. Man City have got 3 competitions still, so they're going to have multiple games to play. Man United have. Can we maneuver through all of them? Maybe, maybe not. I think maybe if we win our next 2 Prem games and maybe Arsenal lose one, maybe City lose one, you might find the manager starts to prioritize the league run, as it were, as opposed to the Carabao Cup. But not Carabao Cup, the Europa League. But I think Man United are right upon the edge of being in this title race. And I want to be fair. You know, we're kind of going through these gateway moments. Today was another big test for us. Leicester looked really good. We persevered. We got through it. De Gea did his job, and we came out on top. You look at the league table there that's on the screen, and I think to myself, 49 points. Excellent place to be in. 3 behind Man City, by the way. 3 behind City, 5 behind Arsenal. And sort of, you know, if Arsenal would have dropped those points yesterday, they had 2 points less because they were drawing 2-2. They'd be on 52 as well, would be 3 points off the top. But it's narrow, and United just need to keep winning. My dad always said this to me. I weren't a good sprinter when I was younger. I was quick, but I'm not going to lie to you. I grew up in the East End of London. I weren't the quickest around, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't. I was quick, but not the quickest. You know, I was probably in like the top 10 fastest people in my year, which is pretty good, right? But I couldn't make the athletics team. I was all right though at long distance. My dad used to say to me, don't worry if you're not the best. Just try and stay on the shoulder of the person leading, and then at the end, go for it. And that's all I used to do. And I won a few races doing that. You know, some kind of 1,500 meters. I did some cross country once as well. It was just, don't worry about leading or winning the race. Just stay on the shoulder of the leader. Let them set the pace. And if you can keep up with them, do. And then at the end, sprint and go for it. And that won me a few races. And that's what Man United have got to do. Stay upon the shoulder. Stay upon the shoulder of Arsenal and City and see what happens. No pressure on Man United in the league this year. We've already overachieved. Everybody said 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th. Look where we are. Proper team. And on a positive note, Spurs are going out to play now. 10 points clear of 5th we are. That is beyond a cushion. If they don't win today, Tottenham, say they draw, there'll be 9 points. That means they have to win 3 more games and some. They have to win 3 more games than us and some. And I'm going to be honest with you, there's no one below us, in my opinion, who is positioned or playing well enough to win 3 more games than Man United in the last 15. I don't see us dropping off that badly. Just don't personally see it. Top 4, of course, not mathematically, but based on performance and ability to win games, Man United are in a very good place. The one thing I want to see improve, the one thing I want to see a little bit better from this Man United team now, is I want to see some more players add some goals. Sancho has had a few recently. Bruno's GA since the return of the World Cup has been pretty good. I think it's 8 in his last 10 games. I think it's about 12 since the return, 12 in 18. I want that to improve a little. We need a Sancho or somebody else to come in and start not taking goals away from Rashi, but adding more goals to this team. Because the one thing you don't want is Rashford to pick up an injury and nobody else being a good run of form. But you know what? If we have Sancho playing more like he did today, suddenly he's not going to be a flop anymore. Suddenly he's going to become an asset. And then there's the returning players. Casemiro coming back. You know, it's still still 5-6 weeks away, but Eriksen will come back. Martial will get fit again and play some games. And Anthony as well. And maybe if you've got a cooking Sancho and Rashford on fire, there'll be a little bit less pressure on Anthony to have to deliver in games as well. Garnacho will chip in with a few goals. I want a few more goals from people, but what a great position for Manchester United to be in. We're going to get Dizzy and we're going to get Traps to join us in a few moments. Traps making his debut on the Terrace, recommended by a man like Big Steve, who listens, Big Steve, by the way. You better feel that breath on your shoulder, bruv, because we are coming for you, my brother. We're coming for Man City's second place position. I said it a few weeks ago. I believe we can finish second this year. Do I believe we can win the league? I ain't quite there yet. I'm not there yet, but it could be done. Viewers, make sure you're smashing like buttons. Make sure you're subscribing to the Terrace right about now. I want your opinions on today's game. Another big talking point before I go to the super chats was this. Should Sabitzer have been sent off for this tackle? Now, the freeze frame looks absolutely terrible. It looks terrible. It really, really does. That looks like a red card to me. But you have to watch this in real time. In real time, there's no follow through. He kind of touches his leg and instantly pulls away. And because of that, VAR reviewed it. They can't give yellow cards retrospectively. So he got away with nothing. I think that's a yellow card foul because he touches his leg and he pulls it away. If he'd have gone through him, that is a red card. That is if you think about the tackle from João Felix a few weeks ago, he goes through the player, he takes him out. The point of the red cards for those high tackles is it high? It's could it permanently injure the player? Could it break a leg? Could it rupture a cruciate ligament? That tackle can't because in real time he touches it. Freeze frame, which is the only thing we can show on YouTube, it looks terrible. I don't think it was a red card personally because there was no follow through. It wasn't dangerous. It couldn't injure a player. By definition, that doesn't injure a player. Find me a tackle where there's been no contact or barely any contact that's injured anybody, and we can chat. And I believe that was a yellow card. And I feel that it wasn't a legit leg breaker. I don't think it was going to end the game for the opponent. But still lucky in the sense of, if he didn't control that the way in which that he did, that could have changed the course of that game for Manchester United. But me personally, no. By the way, Man United don't play Brentford next. That game's been postponed. We're in the Carabao Cup final against Newcastle United. And of course, before I bring the panel out, I'm going to do your comments in a moment. Please stay with us. Souness didn't think so. I know Souness didn't think so, but I'm not going to lie with you. Like, Souness is just bitter because he can't blame Paul Pogba anymore for his life's problems. Do you know what I'm saying? He's looking at this Man United team and it's saying great. And I got one of the saltiest tweets added at me during the game, which is that in 80% of Man United's winners this season, we've been the second best team. I'm like, bro, The last 3 games, you could argue, we've been second best and come out on top in most. But we're missing 4, 5, 6 players and we're still getting the job done. That's why I'm so proud of this team. What's the difference between real time and slow motion? Studs above the knee is still the same. It isn't, Anthony. So this is when you've got to learn about the law of the game. It's about the follow through. There's no follow through. So there's no, is it high or is it low? It's, did you take the player out? Could you? It's about, did it endanger the opponent? No, it didn't. It would have been sore, but you're not going to endanger the opponent if you don't go through them. Like if Anthony Joshua walks up to you and goes on your face like that and pulls his hand away, you're not going to be knocked out. If he punches through your jaw, you're going to traction. Anthony Joshua doing that to you is not going to knock you out. The same as that tackle is not endangering an opponent. And if it's higher and you're not endangering the opponent, it's a yellow. But VAR can't give a yellow. That's the nature of the law, my friend. For me, it's not debatable because there was no follow through. But I get for some of you, you will absolutely want to debate that. Now, there is another person I've got to speak about today before we bring the panel out. 32 goal contributions this year. Marcus Rashford is quite simply the very best winger in the Premier League this season. There is absolutely no shadow of a doubt that Marcus Rashford is number 1. He's number 1 right now. No one's performing better than him for the entire season. But the last 3 months, he's been out of this world. 32 goal contributions. Mo Salah on 25. The brilliant Bukayo Saka 18. Mahrez 16. Miguel Almiron on 13. Son there on 11. Even scarier for this Marcus Rashford situation is when you start to look at overall goal contributions now. He's closing in on Haaland, who's on 36 GA in all competitions, and he's already 10 ahead of Harry Kane. Marcus Rashford is on course to become the most prolific and most dangerous forward in the Premier League this season across all competitions. And it's about all competitions because it's about winning multiple trophies, right? I'm told stats don't matter unless you're winning trophies. So you can't take away someone's goals and assists in games where in competitions where you win trophies. Now he has to win something for me. But if he picks up trophies along with this goal scoring form he's in, Rashford is teetering towards Player of the Year without a shadow of a doubt. I believe he will have more goal contributions than any other player that plays in the Premier League this season. I think he's a shoo-in for Team of the Year. I think he is a candidate now for Player of the Year. And this guy is just world class. He's simply world class. There is no denying it. He's scoring every type of goal. He's doing it week in, week out. And this isn't a flash in the pan. This is just picking up from where it was at two seasons ago. Last year was awful. It was his blip, along with the entire team, probably barring Ronaldo's goals. But the club was in turmoil. As soon as the club became more stable, was no longer a mess, Marcus Rashford back to his best. But today, played as a 9 for 45 minutes, played as a winger for 45 minutes, and was brilliant. The fact that he's adapting to multiple positions is also scary. Scary. That shows you he's developing as a player, and that is coming from the likes of Benny McCarthy, of course, overall led by Erik ten Hag. Sensational football player, Marcus Rashford. Never doubted him for a single second. I'm so proud he's staying. Get that deal done, though. Get that deal done. Don't quite give him what he wants, but give him what he wants. That's what I'm saying about this. But I'll give him what he wants. You know what I'm saying? Because this guy is absolutely out of this world. We have some super chats here I want to do. Terry, when are people going to have a real conversation about Rashford winning Player of the Year? Listen, that's got to start. People talk about Odegaard, but Rashford turns up in big games far more than him. Has my vote so far. Listen, if we had to vote right now, I'm still teetering towards Haaland and Odegaard, but Rashford's now in the mix. Rashford's doing it in the business end of the season. Let's see who picks up the trophies. Let's see who picks up what positions in the league. But Rashford's now 100% a candidate for Player of the Year, I agree. David De Gea's first half saves were key, and Sancho was the difference maker in our fluidity in the second half. Garnacho is a super sub rather than a starter right now. I agree with that. I agree with that. I want to see Sancho start a bit more than Garnacho, but then there has got to be rotation because this week we've got a massive game against Barcelona on Thursday and then a cup final on the Sunday. So there has to be rotation. We're in it. There's no shame of being in a race, is what Joshua Jack says here. Only 5 points behind with 45 to play for. United are challenging the leaders. So in a title race for sure until the results say otherwise, is what Gav says here. I like your positivity there, Gav. As an Ajax fan, I told you Eric Ten Hag was the real deal when you got him in the summer. Eric with oil money is a scary thought, and he will dominate. Glory, glory, Man United. This here says, also, we don't win today without David De Gea. Listen, I know there's a lot of talk about he doesn't have the ability with his feet. Do you know the one thing I'm scared about changing him for is bringing in a goalkeeper? No one in the world can do what he did today. Alisson is amazing. One-on-one saves, Alisson's out of this world. Distribution, he's there. But David De Gea pulls off. I don't know what the name is for David De Gea's saves, but he makes saves. He stops goals that are goals. You go, we've conceded, and he manages to pluck it out the air. No one in the world is as good or consistent as De Gea is doing that. And I do worry about bringing somebody else in and we start to concede those kind of goals. Because this man, for a decade, like, honestly, he hasn't won as many trophies as other legends, other goalkeeping legends like Schmeichels and Van der Sar, but he's in the category with them. Alex Stepney, he's in the category with these guys because, he's carried us for so many years. A good job. That's a bits of tackle. Should have been a red, is what David says here. Thank you, David. Hi, Terry. Ring that Man City character up and let him eat his words. Rashi is in the 18th area, is what Grant's got to say. I'll be chatting to Big Steve about it this week, especially after Haaland kicking over the bar from 2 yards, crumbling under that Premier League pressure, What's the difference between real time and slow motion? Sorry, already done that one from Anthony. If Anthony is Zoolander, then Rashford is Hansel because he's so hot right now. I love that reference. Rashford in footy right now makes me smile. Potter out, is what Dyke says. Sports Genius here says, Terry, Iheanacho was fouled the same way Eriksen was in the Arsenal game. The goal was pulled back against Arsenal, but not against United. Well, the Premier League have also said they made a mistake, and that shouldn't have been a foul on Eriksen. Therefore, today's decision was correct, wasn't it? And remember, if we're going to... So, yeah, I get your point, but they've already apologized for making that mistake. So we don't want them to make the mistake again on purpose, do we? Because that would be a little bit weird. But for me, not a foul. A reminder, Terry wanted Rashford gone last summer. That's not true. I just said the club shouldn't give him a 250, 300 grand a week deal until he got back on form. That is what I said. That is very different from saying, get rid of Rashford, he's not good enough. In that same video, I stated, but if we let him go, I'm scared that he'll find his form and be top class of Paris Saint-Germain. So please don't twist my words, my friend. I stand by what I said. The club did exactly what I said, and look at Rashford now. Going on what you tweeted, with several important players out, United are winning with that next man up mentality. We are, and I think that is kind of going under the radar a little bit, that Man United are winning with all these players out. So the next time you see fans of rivals go, but we've got 3 first-teamers out, we shouldn't be expected to win, that's victim mentality. And I don't do it in sport. Listen, I was an athlete. I competed for my country at a fairly high level. I competed with no cartilage in my left knee and with a tear in my ACL. Not a rupture, but a tear in my ACL. And I had the biggest straps you could imagine. I was sitting there with straps around my leg, with ice wrap around my leg before every single section that I competed in. And I went out there and I fought. I went out there and I did my katas and I got myself through it. Painkillers and perseverance. I didn't win the world championships, but I got 2 bronze medals. And that was the proudest. That was better than gold at other tournaments for me. Other tournaments I'd won, those bronzes felt better because I got through with perseverance. I didn't just go, I'm injured, it's okay to come 10th. No, I wanted to win. That's how winning is done. Fair enough, I'm 37 and I'm developing arthritis in my knees and my ankles now, but I don't care. The heart rate's still good. Still got a resting heart rate of 58, That's pretty damn good. Pretty damn good for someone who's nearly 40. But there we go. I don't do this. Oh, he's got a sore ankle, rest. No, you get out there and play. No whining, no moaning. You get out there and you try and win. 110%. That's how winning is done. Listen, I grew up in a poor-ass family where I had to leave school at 16, couldn't go on the further education because my family needed me to earn money and help put money on the table because my mum and dad had too many kids. They were stupid. Sorry, mum and dad, but you were dumb to have 5 boys. But we had to help, right? But I didn't moan about it. You just get on. That's life. Do you know what I'm saying? Oh, damn, I'm going to be depressed and like sort of let my life fall away from me because things aren't going my way. No. And that's what I love about sport. Sport has taught me how to behave in my personal life, how winning is done, how success is generated. Stop being a goddamn victim your whole life and work hard. Jesus. Not everyone's in that privileged position, but football teams are. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? I'm not doing the whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Some people in this bloody world don't have bootstraps to pull up, but Premier League football teams fucking do. Do you know what I'm saying? They got that privilege. They got it. They got it. Sorry, I already done that one here. I'm sorry, Terry, but Courtois is making those saves as well. Yeah, but we ain't buying Courtois. But I hear you. AFC fan here asked, Man United look lethal. Rashford #1. Thank you, headbangers. Rashford on the finishing of prime Rooney and the pace of prime Cristiano Ronaldo. I agree. Reminder, Terry wanted Rashford. You tweeted it again. Thanks for the super chat, but you're wrong, my G. Rashford playing well, but comparing to 08 Cristiano Ronaldo is crazy. Yeah, I'm not comparing him. I don't know who's doing that. I think goal-wise, you can compare it. That Ronaldo was different. I don't think Rashford's the best player in the world overall. Ronaldo legitimately was. But if Rashford keeps going on like this, who knows how the conversations are going to look. I can't believe Eriksen got injured and we somehow managed to get an upgrade on him on deadline day. Sabitzer next to Cass will be dynamite. Yeah, the Premier League hasn't seen Casemiro and Sabitzer together. We'll see that in the Carabao Cup final potentially. We'll definitely see it at Old Trafford in the game against Barcelona as well. So very, very exciting times ahead for Manchester United fans. Prepared to be educated. Thank you, Mama Flossie. I mean it. I stand by what I say. I stand by it. You've got to have a positive attitude in life. As and Eric with Qatar, us and Eric with Qatar should scare rival fans. It does scare rival fans. They don't want to admit it, but it does. Listen, Traps and Dizzy and Canadian Cam are coming out now to have their say. Please smash the like and the share button. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. Keep those super chats coming as well. Let's do this. Welcome, boys. Welcome, Traps, for your first appearance on the Terrace. Great to have you here, my friend. Listen, a bad first half, but we were leading. We win the game. 3 more points, keeping that pressure on everybody at the top. What are you saying, Dizzy?
Bro, first half, I'm not going to lie. If we were 2-0 down, that would have been very warranted for them. But our boy Rashford shows up again. Look at this stat that I saw. So since Rashford came into the starting 11, first season 8 goals, following season 11 goals, following season 13, then 21, no, then 22, then 21, then 5 last season, and now 23 so far this season. So this isn't a flash in the pan. Last year we all lost our heads. Me being one of them. You know what I'm saying? But this is actually who Rashford is, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm gassed, bro. Every game I'm just like this. We got it under control. Ain't nothing going too crazy. Yeah, that's a good feeling, man. It's a great feeling.
Absolutely, it is. Traps, what did you make of the game today? What did you make of the performance and that sort of direction that Man United are going in?
I mean, the first sort of 6 minutes, I thought, yeah, I sat there and I thought, you know what, we're going to blow these lot away. I did think before the game started, but we're going to pump Leicester today. But after about 6 minutes, Leicester decided to get game control of the game. And by the end of the half, I sat and I thought to myself, all right, cool. When at least we're not down, we're not 1-0 or 2-0 down. De Gea, beautiful save. But I mean, the way this team's playing with and without key players, they're building this it's like they're building like an institution here. Like everyone that comes in, everyone that plays must play to a certain way. It doesn't matter who you are or what was said about you last season or the season before that. If you play for us, you have to play this way, and it's beautiful to watch.
Right.
Mate, I couldn't disagree with you. I couldn't disagree with you at all on that. And Cam, something I brought up, and I'm sure you're looking at it as well. 5 first-team players missing from this team, and we're still picking up wins. You know, there's some of those players will come back this season as well and add to this squad as an example. Fighting on all 4 fronts. Question for you, Cam. Do you think Man United are in this title race?
Mathematically, yeah. It's an interesting one because I think we're going to lose at Anfield. I think it's that's like, I don't want us to be a fully objective fan. I think going to Anfield, they're uptick in form at the moment. They need to get top 4. I think it's going to be an extremely hard place for us to go and win just based on circumstances of the season. We're the better team right now, but if we don't win that game, we're depending on Arsenal and City to start dropping points, which they should based on how they've been playing. And if that happens, then of course we're in it. It's a tough one because, like, mathematically, like, you can't say we're not in the title race. We're 5 points behind. Like, we're right there. All it takes is a team to draw. All it takes is for me to come here after we lose or win to Liverpool. If we would beat Liverpool, then obviously my tune's completely changed. Then we're completely in it, right? Because that'll be our hardest game, I think, for the rest of the season. I don't consider Tottenham a challenge moving forward. I don't consider Chelsea a challenge moving forward. So if we can beat Liverpool, knowing that there will be some shaky results, we're not going to win every game for the rest of the season. If we do, we win the title. I think that's clear. If we go on and win every single game for the rest of this year, of course we'll win the title, because Arsenal and City aren't that consistent. What Ten Hag's doing with what he's brought in is miraculous, in my opinion. It's pretty wild the way he's been like, all right, Weghorst, and please, I want this guy to get a goal so bad. Weghorst, you know what? It's not working out for you in front of goal. Let's put you in the 10. Sabitzer, we have not seen beside Casemiro yet. Remember, that's why we bought him. We didn't buy him to play in the role that he's currently playing in, and he's doing bits. For me, that's the first deal that has to get done in the summer. It's an easy one. You get that over the line. You get that midfielder, that cover. You get Sabitzer over the line. I think everything we're seeing him do, the way he's managing the team, like we don't need a center back anymore. Like, we just need to sell Maguire. We have 4 center backs. Like, with the way Luke Shaw plays there now, we have four very capable center backs in certain games. I do not want Lindelof playing in big games, but he was good today. He was really bad for the first 15 minutes. Then he was great. So every player you're seeing, look, he swaps the low over to the left. Like, he's just looking at the team being like, I figured out what you can all do, and I'm going to put you all in positions to succeed. Sancho in the 10. You said it. You've been crying out for it. Came on and he looked awesome. He looked unbelievable in the 10. Bruno, I hate on the right. Looked great there today, right? So it's like, with this manager, I can't wait to see what we look like with a full 11, like a full, like our starting 11 and the players we bring in, because we know the players that are in our starting 11 right now that's not even it, right? There's still guys to come. We still need a midfielder. We still need a striker. That's going to be something to see.
Yeah, I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree with you more. I'm a bit like, Traps. What do you think about title race talk? Because rivals are, of course, putting a lot of pressure on Man United to say you're in one. Do you feel maybe it's a few more wins away? Do you think because we're 5 points behind, we're automatically in one? Like, how do you see it as a Red?
This is I mean, if you speak to Big Steve, I've been on him for about 3 months, and I looked at I look at the title and I think to myself, how many points is there left to play for? Like 45.
45.
And if you look at the three teams at the top right now, and you look at the 3 teams, you think, who out of them teams would you not want to play right now? It's Manchester United out of the 3 of them. So for me, I don't think 8 at this present moment is 5 points. Obviously, Arsenal got a game in hand. I don't think that's enough to say that you're not in a title race. I don't think that's enough. I mean, you have to remember, Man City and Arsenal still have to play each other. Yeah. So someone has to drop points in that game. So all Man United have, I wouldn't say Man United are they're not in a driving seat or in a position where they can sort of dictate the title race, but they have to be ready if anyone slips up before them to pounce. And if it does happen before Man City play Arsenal, and I say they both drop points, United have to be there in order to take full advantage. And if they do, I mean, I believe that it can be done. If I'm going to be honest with you, I believe it can be done. I don't believe that Arsenal have what it takes. I believe that people bank on City's past, City's history over the last 4 years, because they've been talking about this. City was going to go on this run. They're going to go on this run. It's 24 games now. There's no run coming. So I don't think the run's coming this season. So it's a different season. But to say United are not in the title race is criminal, man. They're definitely there.
You know what it is?
Go on.
Sorry, guys. You know what it is? I think mathematically, yeah, we're in there. If Arsenal get that game in hand and go 8 points clear, you can start to argue, is that a bit too much of a swing to try and swing in our way? But I think what it is with Man United, I love what we're doing. We're doing excellent. But there are still, right now, through whatever circumstances may come up, there are still games like Crystal Palace, like Leeds, that are within us. And for me to then say, to expect, okay, if we're in a title race, acknowledging those things, for me, might be it's like this much too far. Say if we go in the next 5 games, we beat Liverpool and we win the rest, then I'm with the title race talk. But until I see a bit more ruthlessness in front of goal, especially because we should have scored 5. We should have scored 5 goals. No. If I see more ruthlessness, then I can be like, yeah, we're in. But I still think there's a little bit in us right now that isn't quite there yet to say we're in a title race. But we are doing so well, and no one can chat to us this season. That's all.
I hear you on that. And sorry, I just want to say one thing, Dizzy, because I want to throw this out. This is also key. Arsenal play 3 times before Man United go to Anfield. The gap could be 14 points. If they win those 3 games, they could be they've got a game in hand over us, but they'll play 2 other games before we kick a ball again next. So ironically, we'll actually have games in hand over them by the time we kick off against them. But if there's 14 points and then we lose against Liverpool, even if we win our game in hand, it's 11 points. And that means we've got to win in the last 13 games. We've got to win 4 more than Arsenal. I don't know if we're going to do that's a lot. That's a huge amount. That means Arsenal's win percentage has got to drop by about 35-40%, and we have to win every game. So it becomes difficult. I kind of feel like if Arsenal in their next 4 games, drop points in 2 of them, and we win all those retrospective fixtures, then I'm going to say we're in a top. Then I'm 100% going to say we're in it. I feel like we're just on the edge right now. We're just on the edge because of this cup final coming up and the 5-point gap. Plus, they've got a game in hand, and I just think those couple of factors. If they dropped points yesterday, I think it'd feel very different today, only being 3 points behind them. That puts more pressure on them. But look, it's very, very close. But having said that, like I said already, you look at the players that we've got out. I mean, I tweeted that tweet only 10 minutes ago, and it's had nearly 2,000 likes put on it because people realize that. And I think United are building something. I think we'll become a title contending team, maybe too late this year. But you think about the new owners coming in, the debt being gone, the players we're going to buy. And one of the great things that's been said by all of the potential new owners so far, and the media have been briefed this. I've been talking to a journalist who's got this, and the articles are going to come out next week. They're all essentially saying they love what Ten Hag and the footballing people are doing this season. They don't want to disturb it. They just want to add to it. And I think for me, that's the bit I'm most happy with. The one fear factor I had was we're moving in the right direction football-wise. I didn't want new owners to come in and go, right, we want a different manager, different this, different that, different the other. You look at this team today. Weghorst was good. He's good, just not good in terms of scoring goals. Throw Harry Kane into his position.
We win now.
By the way, I think we can win the league. I said it in January. If you bought us Harry Kane in January, we would win the Premier League. Yeah. And, you a few more play. Even today, like Varane can't play 2 games a week. That's a position we've got to we've got to buy a player in the summer, because as great as Varane is, next year you want to be competing Premier League title and for the Champions League. He can't play 2 games a week. His body just won't let him. So we need to improve a few areas like that. But Man United are becoming very scary and very, very dangerous indeed. This here says Weghorst is really unlucky at the moment. He's providing hard work, unselfish running for his team, assists even. He gets if he gets a few goals in, Drogba material. Do you know what's crazy? Do you know what I was thinking during the game? Mason Mount wants 300 grand a week to do what Weghorst does. It's crazy. Weghorst is like a very good. For me, he's a great makeshift. He's a great makeshift. Works hard, runs hard. Weghorst could have scored 3. He could have scored 3 goals today, to be fair.
Yeah. I like
Anthony here says Sans Sabitz's tackle isn't a leg breaker, it's joke. School game, my mate had that tackle and couldn't play football again. Did he? Your mate must have very skinny legs. Sorry, Terry.
Nah. Like, he brushed him with his stud. That's all he did. Yeah. Come on now, people. Let's be honest here. You guys want it to be a red, and I get it. That's fine.
I think it's one of them things. I think it's one of them things, yeah, that if he gets sent off, you don't really complain about it. But if he stays on, he stays on. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those.
I think if you're going by the laws of, like, again, what VAR is supposed to be, like a clear and obvious mistake, it wasn't. It was, I feel like it was a yellow, if anything, for me. If he gets sent off, I would have had to see his the guy's leg go the other way, something like that, which you see on those tackles. He was a bit late. I don't think it was a red card, and it would have been harsh.
If the guy that I don't even know the name of the player, the tackle on Van der Beek. Yeah, the tackle on Van der Beek didn't even get a foul. So for me, and that quite literally it didn't just end Donny's season. We probably won't see him back until late next season. That's like every ligament, every tendon, every cartilage, everything broke in that one tackle. And it is what it is. What was good about Sabitzer could have hurt him if he wanted to. That's why Souness was talking nonsense. Sabitzer pulls away his leg, therefore not trying to hurt him. There was a tackle in a game this weekend. I don't remember who it was, but it went in on a goalkeeper. I think it was somebody did it, and they went in on Alisson, but he pulled his legs out. I think it might have been Onana on Monday, against Alisson. Went in, but he bent his legs back at the last minute, so there was no contact. It's like, that isn't when you try and hurt somebody. But, of course, rivals are just gutted that we won. This here says, completely pulled away from the challenge. No red is from Guna Dan, who says there. By law, it's reckless. It was reckless, not dangerous, and didn't have excessive force. But that's the thing. I don't think it's reckless because he controlled it by pulling it away. By definition, it isn't even reckless because he didn't go through the player's knee.
They are fishing so hard, bro. I love the anti-United salt right now. They're fishing for anything.
I get you. Someone here says, Cam, explain how Arsenal aren't consistent. We've only had one bad patch.
I didn't say they weren't consistent. I mean consistently, like, Arsenal hasn't done this before. Like, this year they're consistent, but when's the last time? It's hard when you look at the last couple of years and you go, is Arsenal going to keep this up? Like, we saw literally last year them bomb out of the Champions League in the last 3 games. Like, that happened. Let's not pretend that it did not happen before our eyes. It's a different year, different team, but we have seen Arsenal fold before. We'll see if they do it this year. I pulled up the fixtures, by the way. Arsenal's fixtures, other than the fact that they're not playing in every tournament, they still have to play Liverpool. They still got City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Brighton. That is the hardest run of all the top 3 teams left to play. We have Liverpool, Tottenham again. I just can't rate Tottenham. Sorry. We have Liverpool and we have Chelsea, and that's it. Like, those are our teams. That's
we have Brighton again as well, and Brentford.
We have Brighton. My bad. We have Brighton.
We've got Brighton away, Brentford at home. We've got to go Newcastle away. See, there's Liverpool away. We've got Chelsea at home still to come. I mean, the Liverpool
Arsenal, all those teams too, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's look, listen, it's going to be amazing. United are definitely going to lose games and drop points. I wanted to ask you all a question. I want to go to Dizzy first on this. Jadon Sancho at number 10. What are you saying?
You know what? I'm so happy for this kid, bro. He got sent to the Himalayan mountains and came back on smoke. I think, to be honest, I'm surprised that nobody thought to put him in the 10 earlier. I guess Bruno was so dominant in the 10 that it didn't make sense to move him out of position. But as far as how he likes to play, he's not a pace merchant. He likes the quick interplay. He likes to find the open pockets of spaces. So, you know what? He looks great in the 10 position. So long may it continue. More depth, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree. What do you make of it, KJ? Because obviously he doesn't really have that blistering pace on the wings to knock it past the man and go. But he's into play with Bruno. The way they kind of exchange positions at times as well, it looked really fluid and slick.
Yeah, and that's all I really wanted, to be fair, from Man United for a long time, is the fluidity. We were at our best when we had Martial, Rashford, and he who should not be named, when they're all changing positions, being fluid. And I think Man United have always been at our best. If you look at Rooney, Terrace, and Ronaldo, interchanging, being fluid. And that's all I want from Man United. So Sancho, he can start at 10. I'm happy for him to swap over with Bruno. I'm happy for him to swap over even with whoever's on the left-hand side, whether it's Garnacho, or Rashford, whoever. Like, I feel like he's that talented of a player. He's that talented. You saw it today. Like, he's got the intelligence as a wide player to play as number 10. Not many can do that. You know what I mean? So the way that he plays, it suits him. And I think for the better for Man United, he started to play him there. When Bruno's not on form, you've got options now. You've got Eriksen and Sancho, who can both play that role. If you wanna confuse the opposition, put Rashford up top, put Sancho in the 10, and put someone else on the left. You know what I mean? Like, we have those options, and that is a dangerous proposition for any team in the world. But it's kind of like, okay, crap, what are we going to do now? Because we have solution. You have a counter for us, we'll counter you back. And I'm excited for what Ten Hag's going to do with this attack. Replace Workhorse with a better striker. Replace, unfortunately, as much as I love him, replace Martial with a guy who's actually fit. Yo, that attacking force, like, it's going to be one of the best in Europe, I believe.
Yeah, listen, I agree. I think that there's a lot of people. I mean, we've all seen Babs on True Geordie's show, the kickoff, talk about, you know, Rashford being limited. I think a lot of the panel that he had on were talking about how Ten Hag hasn't improved us. Rashford's just papering over the cracks. But of course, that discounts the form that Bruno's in. And, you know, in the same time that Rashford has, I don't even know how many goal contributions Rashford has got now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 20 in 18 games since the return since the World Cup. But Bruno Fernandes in those same 18 games has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 goal contributions.
And he should have more.
And yeah, I mean,
he should have
the lows missed today. You just think to yourself,
robbed.
Again, he's had loads of them. So he's contributing goals with either creating or goal scoring. And I think we need to add another person to that. But the kind of way that United are now being sort of shoeboxed into, well, you haven't really improved. You've just got Rashford that's scoring goals, is crazy. I've never seen, you know, when Liverpool were tearing teams up, but Salah was getting GA on level with Thierry Henry. Nobody was saying, well, yeah, they're great, but if you take away Mo Salah's goals, they're an average team. If you take away Haaland's goals this year, does that, you know, or can you take if you take KDB's ability away, City aren't that good. If you take away the star players of most teams, of course they all lose something, but every team has a star player. I don't understand. Like, would France have got to the World Cup final without Mbappe? Would Argentina have won the World Cup without Lionel Messi? To turn around and make Man United sound bad because we have a player in electric form is the most disjointed, backwards way of thinking about football I've ever seen in my life, because you could theoretically use that logic towards every team. You know, and this season, let's just have it right. This season, Rashford has been amazing since Christmas, but Casemiro and Eriksen have been a stellar partnership in the midfield. David De Gea has got the second most clean sheets in the Premier League, and Varane and Lisandro Martinez have been absolutely brilliant as a partnership. And we've had our left back come into at least 8 or 9 games now as centre back, including away at the Camp Nou, where they haven't conceded a goal from open play this season, and boss it. To act like Rashford is the only player playing well in this Man United team and system is so disingenuous. It is unbelievable. It is unbelievable.
Bro, I was getting tweets halfway through the first half saying, "Oh, well, you're lucky you got De Gea because you'd be 2-0 down." Well, do other teams not have goalkeepers, or is it just United that got goalkeepers?
Yeah, believe it or not, good teams have players who play good in their position. You know, who would have thought? I've never seen a team in my life where everyone is crap and they win the league. You know why? Because that's impossible. You need everyone to play good to be good. So when rivals are saying, "Oh, but if you take away this good thing and that good thing," yeah, fam, if you take away my clothes, I'm naked. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but the analysis is crazy. Like Ramsdale at Arsenal, how many times in the last, forget this season, how many times have we seen him pull off great saves? How many times have you seen Edison pull off good saves for City? I know he leaked some as well. Alisson at Liverpool. Some of their fans in the last 2 to 3 years have put him down as player of the season because of the amount of time. You look at yesterday as an example. They won 2-0. But even down to 10 men, without Alisson, they could have drawn that game. They could have lost that game. And you need your players to play well. Man United are the only team I've seen where universally rivals come together and attack players that are scoring loads of goals like it's a bad thing. Attack goalkeepers for making saves like it's a bad thing. get annoyed at clean sheets like it's a bad thing. You know, I also heard professional pundits say Casemiro's not been that good. He just looks good because Man United haven't had a good DM since Michael Carrick. Therefore, we're sort of over-indexing how good he's been. It's like, yeah, but that's why we're improving and getting better. Everything's bad, but we're getting better. It's kind of weird to me. And we all know why the real reason is because people are scared of Manchester United. It's as simple and as straightforward.
Yo, Terry, we need that video tomorrow morning. Rivals are scared of United. I fear Man United. United scare me. I want that video coming.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. Bad take, Terry. People attack Haaland. Yeah, maybe they do. And listen, I get called out for being a secret Arsenal fan, a secret City fan, a secret Liverpool fan. It's because I don't do primary school banter on the internet. And I know Gal says you can't tell people what is and isn't funny. I can tell you what I find funny or not. The way I see like grown men debate football on Twitter, in spaces, even on some YouTube channels. That's literally how we did it in the playground as kids. It's very much my dad is bigger than your dad. And it's so embarrassing. Haaland is not a tapping merchant. He's a brilliant striker. He is. Saka isn't overrated. He's a sensational football player. If you're going to compare, like you think your winger's better, you lose the argument instantly if the first thing you do is try and play down a rival to that person in terms of who's the best. Anyone with a real football palate who really believes their player is better will come with facts, figures, and examples about why their player is better. They don't try and shit on the other person. That's how we've seen politics go in this world. No one comes out and says, well, my policy is better than your policy. It's all about, well, my character is better than your character. I'm a little bit of the belief of, listen, his character might be a bit worse, but he's going to run the country better. And then, like, we've lost sight of that. In the whole world, we've lost sight of it. It's not about proving your person's better. It's about shitting on the other person. And that is what children do. And I'm sorry to say it, but you're a kid if you do it. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm just not. There's fun, and we can all have a bit of banter, but we can tell the difference between fun and when people are making serious points here. I want to go to some super chats here, boys. There's quite a few that's come through. This one here says, Rashford, a Balon d'Or candidate. I think so.
If we win stuff, yeah, we got to win stuff. Think about it. If we win the FA Cup, the Europa League, and the League Cup, like he's got to be in the conversation.
I don't think the trophies are.
I get it. You don't get the. I know the Prem and the UCL are very important for that trophy, but at some point, it's got to be like, all right, if he.
So when we say candidate, do we mean
not win it?
No, not win. No. Are we talking about top three? Because that's for me a candidate for the Balon d'Or. That's top three players. Like
I would put him in that conversation if we win all those trophies.
Fair enough, because you can be on the top 10, top 50, top 20 list. Wait.
Let me tell you
what you saying, Traps?
That's what
I'll be totally honest with you. Yeah, I couldn't care any less about Balon d'Or candidates and whatnot. Yeah, as long as he brings trophies for this club, I'm not bothered about any, because we all know the credibility of the Balon d'Or. So what is the point? Do you know what I mean? If he could score, he might score 50 goals this season, and they might just give it to Lionel Messi for winning the World Cup. Do you know what I mean?
Traps, you're bang on. Listen, for me, it's nice for the personal awards, but I've never been someone that's over-indexed them too much because, you know, we've seen players like the year that Man United won the treble, Player of the Year went to David Ginola for a team that finished about 7th. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't the best player in England that year. He just wasn't. You know, it should have gone. You know, and equally that same season, Beckham came 2nd or 3rd in the Balon d'Or, but couldn't win Player of the Year in England. These awards have always been very much skewed. But should he be a candidate? For me, it's about performing like he is until the end of this. If he performs like this until the final day of the season, I think you have to win a major trophy along with it. So say he keeps scoring and we miraculously pulled off a Premier League winning year and we won a domestic trophy with it, then I think he's in the running for it. But does he have the popularity online to win it over Lionel Messi? No, it doesn't matter. Like if he scored a hat-trick in every game for the rest of the season and United won 4 trophies, including the Premier League, Messi still winning it. So it doesn't really matter. Although he did score a very good free kick to win the game today. Ray here says, after the first half, we were slow, but our rivals watched in the second half. We teared Leicester apart, and it should have been 7. Very, very true. Liverpool will let us win better of 3 evils. Liverpool will
let us win the league.
Yeah, rather
not
than Man
sure they
United
will.
or Man City getting it. Oh, I don't know. Depends. Do you know what? It all depends with Liverpool because they're back in the hunt now for top 4. You know, they beat Man United. They'll be really fancying themselves getting a Champions League spot next year, to be fair. A here says Manu looked great in his debut. Yeah, very, very tidy. Very, very tidy. Liverpool on the rise. I agree with that, but I don't rate Chelsea with Potter. United in the race. 3-horse race for me is what Chris Walker says here. Let's be honest. Kickoff has turned into a joke. I don't think it's listen. The show is brilliant. There's nothing wrong with the show. It's just an opinion on it. I think listen. Babs is a great kid, great YouTuber. You can't deny. Look at his numbers. Look at his followers. Brilliant at what he does. But his whole argument was constructed. Again, people do this in politics now. They want to come to an end conclusion, so they have their conclusion before they have their hypothesis. So what people do is they work backwards. It's right. How do I bring my guy out on top? Well, this is what he's better than Rashford at. So that's the premise of the argument. And you work backwards to create the story that feeds into the conclusion being my guy comes out on top. It's clever, but as transparent as
I think people should stop comparing Saka and Rashford altogether. Like those two players shouldn't be compared.
If they were on the both team, I'm the same team. All I'm saying is you can beat anyone, Gareth Southgate, if you put them on the pitch at the same time.
They're both great players. They play differently.
Well, every time I see Rashford score at the minute, I'm like, all I keep thinking is 5 minutes versus France. 5 minutes versus France is all he got.
Don't give me started, Southgate.
This here from George says, although I'm biased, I think people should be a bit more worried about Arsenal. We are top of the league with the game in hand, and our 2 most important players are out injured, Partey and Jesus, is what George says here. I mean, I personally think Arsenal are going to win the league still, and everybody kind of went over the top with them losing to City. I think you think it'll be all right. And by the weekend, I mean, I still can't believe City didn't win. The chances they missed yesterday against Forest were
Chris Wood, bro.
Chris Wood saving the day. If you take away United's points, they wouldn't be in the top
4. True.
Yeah. It's true. David here says we're in the race. I'm not going to say which one yet. Thank you, Spurs, for turning Ten Hag away after his interview due to not having enough charisma. Yeah, it's amazing that they did that. It's amazing they did that.
That's so Spursy as well. Think how they people bottled a freaking manager appointment. Are you flipping mad?
Yeah, I'm glad in history.
I'm glad they did, bro. I'm in love with the guy. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
Why did I say last time I was on? Bold is flipping best, boy. Yeah, let's go.
Bro. If we win the league, I might go bold for real.
I'm not shaving my hair.
Terry, I dare you. If we win the league this season, if Man United win the league, I'll cut your hair down low.
I spent £5,000 on this hairline. I am not cutting it off, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? It ain't happening. I know Balon d'Or holds no weight, but the tears would be worth it. This is true. If Rashford won a Balon d'Or, forget rivals. Certain Man United fans who said he was a championship player, who said he was Trashford, who said he could never cut it. I mean, still, there's a couple of accounts I follow, and I'm not going to mention who they are because I don't follow them to beef them. It's just funny. I bet I'm going to go and look at their account afterwards because I love to do it. They'll be raving today about Sancho. They'll rave about Sabitzer. They'll rave about some of the Sandro's tackles. But 100%, what you'll see on their Twitter feed when it comes to Rashford is get in Rashford, or well done Rashford. There's no superlatives. There's no excitement. It's more, I'm so annoyed you're doing it. It's crazy. It's also going to hurt them. Imagine he finishes the most prolific attacker in Europe this season, which he's tracking towards doing. More J than anybody else. It just becomes undeniable. It becomes undeniable.
I think he could win Player of the Year, PFA Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
He could win that. But the Balon d'Or, I think that's a stretch, man.
Yeah, I don't see him winning it. I don't see him winning the Balon d'Or. I don't.
I think conversation. I think candidate was the question.
Your top 20 list. I'm here for it.
Candidates. I think being a candidate would be.
Yeah, I think he can do that. No doubt. Listen, I want to say a big thank you to Dizzy, to Cam, to KJ. Of course, Trap's making his debut. Definitely got to get you back on the show, bro. 110%. Been good having you on. Viewers, make sure you're smashing like buttons and subscribing. We will be live after Tottenham versus West Ham, which is still 0-0 at this point. Spurs would not know the difference between software and underwear. Headbanger says, yeah, I like that, my friend. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, a big thank you to each and every single one of you. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very